Well, nobody's watching yet.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's a bit stressful. So all of this is live now. So yeah, it's
Interesting.
22. Okay, welcome everyone to this first Dune Arcana session. I'm basically just going to be an observer today. So for everyone who doesn't know me, I'm Boxer. I'm part of the Wizard Relations team at Dune. I'm going to be hanging out in the chat. So if there's any questions, do leave them in the chat and I'll make sure to get them to Jackie. But Jackie is going to be our host today. So the word is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. My name's Jackie. I go by Agaperste on Twitter. Really excited to be here to do our first Arcana session. Thank you, Boxer, for moderating the chat for today. We're just going to give it like a few more minutes for people to show up. But as you all know, today we're going to talk about tornado caches, frozen USDC, and kind of like do a little bit of like unchained sleuthing and see how we can kind of like understand what it actually means.
I would say you can just go ahead and start.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna drop off, and yeah, if there's anything interesting, I'll pop back in and like get you the questions.
Okay. Cool.
All right,
Thanks.
let's go.
We'll turn this on. Hopefully, we can see the presentation. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So let me do here. So as we all probably have heard, last Monday on August 8th, U.S. Treasury's OFAC, so the Office of Foreign Asset Control, came out and announced that they are sanctioning Tornado Cash. And in turn, they added Tornado Cash and associated Ethereum wallet addresses to this list, the SDN list, the specially designated nationals list. So what does it mean by an OFAC sanction? What exactly is Tornado Cash? And what it means by OFAC sanctioning Tornado Cash. That's what we're going to talk about today first. Okay, so OFAC were the Office of Foreign Assets Control for the U.S. Treasury Department. They are responsible for economic sanctions against international terrorists, criminals, and individuals generally deemed as posing a national security threat to the U.S. So think about, Cuba or North Korea. And once you're added to this SDN list by OFAC, you're pretty much screwed because any U.S. persons, whether you're a citizen or like a resident or a business, are prohibited from interacting with any entities that are on this list. So that's what it means by an OFAC sanction. And now let's quickly talk about Tornado Cash. So before talking about Tornado Cash, let's take a step back into kind of cryptocurrency and transactions. So we know with cryptocurrency transactions, let's say I have some ETH, so I'm sending Boxer, let's say 1 ETH over the internet. So by the obvious property of public blockchain, everything is public and visible and will forever be there. So when I send this 1 ETH to Boxer, like everyone else can see that. So by that, like all of my transaction, I will be able to, like anybody, so any malicious party will be able to see it. So if we want to kind of protect our privacy, there arises a need for privacy tools. So Tornado Cash is a type of privacy tool mixer, and you literally mix the money into a pool. And then you when it comes out to the other side, it's not so like, okay, everything is like super public. You can see who sent who money. So with Tornado Cash, how do you achieve that? So there's different pool, like tiers of pool. So that could be like 10 ETH, like 100 ETH, whatever, a million. So with like 100 ETH pool, so when one has to only deposit 100 ETH and only withdraw 100 ETH. So not 99, not 101, only 100. And then there already pre-exists a large amount of money inside of that pool. So effectively, when you deposit into this pool and then kind of like try to withdraw, a few days later or a few weeks later, you can't really tell like where the money comes from anymore. So that's what it means by a mixer. So that's what Tornado Cash does. So as probably a lot of us know, so Tornado Cash is just like living, breathing code, smart contract code that are on the blockchain. So when OFAC is saying, hey, like we're going to sanction Tornado Cash as a protocol, what does that actually mean, right? So let's see a few tweet word news for that day. So on August 8th, probably a lot of you have seen this, Bentech tweeted that Circle, so Circle is the issuer for USDC, has just frozen 75,000 USDC belonging to Tornado Cash. And then also Jeremy, the CEO of Circle, came out and said to comply with US Treasury sanction against Tornado Cash, they've blocked related address. So it's really when OFAC is saying, hey, like we're going to sanction these this protocol or these addresses, it's really up to the counterparties or like other people that are interacting with Tornado Cash to really comply with this regulation. So in Circle's case, Circle has decided to blacklist these list of addresses and like basically blocking them from taking any actions. So yeah, so if you don't quite understand what that means yet, let's go to some on-chain examples to further help understand like how can Circle as a centralized entity comply with the regulation and enforce this this rule. All right, so here I have a screenshot of a transaction that blacklist a particular address associated with Tornado Cash. Don't worry about how I'm getting this transaction. We'll cover about like how later on we can also all go and find this transaction. But let's go here first to see. Okay, so here I have a blacklisted event, and then we can see the address being blacklisted. So a quick word on this, we have topics, right? So we have topic 0 and 1 for the for this event logs that is being broadcasted. So the first position of this topic is always going to be basically an encoded string version of this string event declaration that you see up here. And then from the second position on, it's going to be whatever parameter belongs to that event. So here there's only one parameter, the address being blacklisted. So this is the address that are being blacklisted by USDC or Circle in this instance. And then we can kind of open, just right-clicking, open this address and see. So on Etherscan, we can see, hey, this is indeed a contract address associated with Tornado Cash, and it even has a tag of sanctioned. And then we can see, hey, it's like a Tornado Cash USDC pool. So just know that this is actually a 1,000 USDC pool. I don't know why they wrote it like that. So we can verify by clicking into it. So this is like just like a withdrawal transaction. So how do I know it's a withdrawal? It says withdraw here. And then if I add up the, the money here, it equals to 1,000 USDC. So this is like a 1,000 USDC Tornado Cash pool. All right, so going back to the transaction, to the transaction. So this is how Circle is blacklisting addresses, but like what does it mean when they blacklist an address, right? So to understand that further, let's go to USDC's contract online to like help us understand the effect of Circle blacklisting an address. So what am I going to do here is I'm still on Etherscan and I'm going to type USDC. And I'm going to click into the USDC contract page. So this is, all the transactions like USDC will be recorded here. And I'm going to the contract tab. And then here is what I can see, the code that generally dictates the behavior of USDC. But if you notice, this is actually a proxy contract. So I'm not gonna, let's just like quickly talk about like contract. So when a contract is being deployed on chain, as we all know, the immutability of open public blockchain, it cannot be changed. But if I want to kind of like add on behaviors or something, a pattern that I can do is I deploy a proxy contract, and then that proxy contract in turn points to another contract. So anytime I want to update the behavior, I just change the underneath contract. So the proxy contract will remain the same address. So that's what it means by proxy contract. And then just we can kind of already with Etherscan see investigate like what type of actions that you can do. So these are the functions that you can call, actions that you can conduct with USDC as a token. So like you can approve. So like if I approve 10 ETH to Boxer, that means like I allow Boxer to spend 10 ETH in my wallet. And then you can see, hey, blacklist, I can call it blacklist function to blacklist the address. And then some other, really common functions are like transfer. So I transfer 10 ETH to Boxer. That's a function that I need to call. So now I'm going to show you kind of like a neat tool that people have developed to help us like take a step further at like looking at the code exactly what happens when a address is being blacklisted. So I'm going to go back to the code tab for now. And then here in the URL, instead of etherscan.io, I'm going to replace .io with .death.net and then hit enter. So this is a tool that will help us better read the code associated with the USDC contract. Okay, so let's take a look at the transfer function, which is like one of the most commonly called function, right, of this contract. So let's do Control F or Command F. We're looking for a function called transfer. All right, perfect. So we can see line, let me just make this a little bigger so we can all see it. Yeah, so the transfer function, as you can see, the transfer function, when it's being called in the function, it already checks, hey, this the sender, so the from of this transaction is not being blacklisted, and then the to, so the receiver of this transaction is not being blacklisted. So you can see when an address is being blacklisted, it effectively cannot do anything. It cannot transfer. So that's why like all the fund we say is frozen. We're stuck inside of this contract. So that is how USDC or Circle as a centralized entity comply with OFAC's regulation on banning these banning tornado.cash and banning these Ethereum addresses. That's how. So they first blacklist these addresses, and then second, whenever there's a transfer, it definitely checks to see if the address is on that banning list, and if it is, you can't do anything. So the fund is frozen. All right. So I will pause quickly for a few seconds if anyone has any questions. Okay. All right. Cool. Perfect. Then let's. So let me ask a question to you. Going back to here. So I already found a transaction that Circle blacklist USDC. Circle blacklisted. Tornado.cash is like one of the address associated with it. But like, how can we go about to find all the addresses that are being blacklisted? Right. So that is, if I just go to just Etherscan, like this, it's just, okay, there's so many different transactions. Manually, it will take me like ages. I don't even know if it's possible to really help me find out. So they can go to use Dune as a resource and analytics platform to help us, find the blacklist transactions for USDC. So yeah, actually, let me just start a new query. So I'm going to go to dune.com. typing.com. Okay, so here on the top up right, I'm going to start a new query. And here it's telling me, hey, selecting Dune Engine v2 for a more powerful experience. I'm going to do that. Just a quick word on the v2 v1 engine. So here in the drop up that you can see, 1 through 6 are v1 version of the engine. So these are Postgres SQL engine, and they are each of the database that we can see here are like separately for separate chains. But in the v2 engine, so number 7 we see here, so all the chains are in the same database. It's Spark SQL. So effectively, it unlocks the power of doing cross-chain analytics, and also it really speeds up when we do like aggregation across a really long time horizon. So it's a really powerful tool. So today we're going to use V2 engine to query for this. So as I always start with a select from. Okay, cool. So now we're here. We're ready to write some SQL to help us investigate what addresses are being blacklisted by Circle on August 8th. So that is our question in mind. So let's just build this query together to see how exactly we can do that. So coming back here one more time to refer to our particular action, we can see, hey, like we see the logs, that this is an event log that is being broadcasted. Okay, so keep that in mind. Coming back here, we can select the raw tables and then just filter for Ethereum chain. And then, so these are the base tables, the raw base tables of Ethereum. So Ethereum, if you think about it, it's just really a gigantic database. And databases, we have different tables, right? So we have a transaction table, you have traces table, logs table, and then you can read more about these if you just Google Ethereum architecture. So whenever there's a transaction happening, let's say like I deposit money for a Boxer, like $10 for Boxer, then I'm gonna like text Boxer up, hey, like I've done it for you. So like kind of like event logs, some things you have some sort of action and then you're broadcasting to the chain, to the world that I have just conducted this action. So that are the event logs. So that's the table we are going to query. So select start from, I'm clicking the little right arrows here to automatically populate the table name. And then I'm going to click onto the table itself to help me examine what are the columns that I can query. Okay, so now we've got the table. Select from ethereum.logs. And this is the step I need to kind of filter because there's gigabytes, like terabytes of like information in this, right? So okay, so step one, I know that Circle USDC has blacklisted the addresses. So I'm going to filter by the contract address. So this is the initiating party for this particular transaction or for this event logs. And I'm going to filter that. So we already kind of know to find USDC contract address, but just let's do one more time. So we can I'm opening Etherscan one more time. And then into USDC. And then select USDC. And then I'm going to copy the address, coming back to Dune. And then I'm going to paste the address. And then I'm going to apply a lower function because everything in Dune V2, when you query for an address, it has to be lowercase. So that's why I'm applying a lowercase function here. Okay, cool, perfect. So now we know we're filtering for USDC. But as we have seen, USDC, there's so many actions that you can take, right? You can approve, you can blacklist, you can transfer. So we only care about the blacklisted event. So that's something we have to also filter. So looking at these columns on the side, we've got data, index, topics 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so like, what are those, right? This part we kind of touched upon. Let's go back to this particular transaction one more time. Review, as we have heard previously, different topics. So topics position, the first index topic, so topic 0 here, is associated with this event declaration, so blacklisted address. And then the second is the parameter. From the second position on is the parameter associated with it. So in Etherscan, it starts with 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3. Apologies, a little bit confusing on the Dune side. The Dune topic starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, but effectively it's the same thing. Like the first position will be declaration, and then from the second to the fourth position will be the parameters. All right, so now because of that, we know we're filtering for like blacklist event declaration. So we know that we're filtering for topics 1 equal to blacklist, but we can't just type in, blacklist. That doesn't really work. We need to find this long, basically this like long encoded string of blacklisted. So how exactly do that? There's a few ways. If you're lucky enough, you already have this transaction. Obviously, you can copy paste topics, the first topic here. But another way, is that you can select the distinct topics 1 associated with this contract address from Ethereum logs. That's like another way you can also do that. But I'm going to show you an even like a cleaner and a faster way of doing this. So this requires us to go back to the USDC contract. So here, I'm going to switch back to this tab. Remember, we got to this tab by going into USDC's contract and then replacing the Etherscan's URL a little bit by going to the deth.net. And then that's how we come upon the contract for USDC. So now I already know, based on like this side of the transaction, I'm looking for something called black. So I can just switch it back to this tab. I'm going to Control F for blacklist. And then I also know that I'm looking for an event. So it also helps you, because if I do blacklist, you can see there's like 73. So it's like way too much to filter. So if I do event blacklist, ta-da! Okay, cool. So now I've come upon this event declaration signature where, okay, I have blacklisted and address. So I am just going to copy this, Control C. And then the next step is we need to encode this to be something that looks like what we saw here on chain. So how do we do that? We are going to employ a tool. Let me open that. And definitely, if you have not come across this, you should definitely bookmark it. It's very useful. So this is a KCAC 256 online hash function. So it's going to use KCAC 256 to help us encode this. Okay, so it needs to be exactly like that, meaning that there cannot be space in between, because you see like once I type in a space, the output, the hash completely is different. So there cannot be space, and then you only need the type of the parameter, so not the name, not anything else, just the type. So here the type is an address type, and then the case matters. So here I have a B as upper block case. What if I like make it lower black listed? It completely changes again. Okay, so now I have my FFA starting hash, and then I'm going to copy this part. And then just to kind of prove to ourselves, going back to the screenshot, on the side, we can also see it starts with FFA4. So yeah, so this is something that you can do, just like you can also encode these event declarations yourself. Okay, so coming back to our query here. So I'm again going to apply a lower version just in case. And then this is a string. And then just to format it, I'm going to add a 0x in front of it. So this is for a blacklisted event. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit so we can all see. Let me hide this for now. We will use this a little bit in the future. Okay, cool. Perfect. So now we've filtered for USDC blacklisted event, right? And now we're ready to grab the information we need. So I'm going to open this one more time. Okay, so something that we're interested in. Possibly we'll want to see the block timestamp, and possibly we should grab the transaction hash. So I always like to grab the transaction hash just to like confirm that the result is correct. And then this is the part that we really want. We want to know the addresses. Okay, so how do we know the address being blacklisted? Remember, we talked about the topics here, topic 012. So from the second position on, it's going to be the parameter for this event declaration. And we also know that the only parameter existing in this event declaration is the account address that is being blocked. So naturally, we know that in order to get the address of the blacklisted event, we need to go to the second topic. Okay, so that is what we're going to do here. We're going to grab topic 2, and we are going to run it and see the results. And yeah, so obviously everyone has different habit to format SQL queries. And I've recently just been, I guess, converted to the left comma club. Yeah, it's much nicer. You can comment it like super easily once you do this. Actually, I made a mistake. See, so now it's running for 30 seconds already. I'm gonna cancel it. So this is the part where there's so much data that are inside of this. I'm going to have to, right, like filter to make this faster, I'm going to filter upon the time. And we know that we're looking for the blacklisted address on August 8th. So that's exactly what we're going to filter for. So block time is greater than 2022-08-08. And then also block time is less than 2022-08-09. Okay, let's do that one more time. Okay, so remember previously, when I didn't add the filtering condition, it was just like running for more than 30 seconds. Now it's like just in seconds, it like fetch me the results. So yeah, when we filter by the time, it's gonna like really greatly speed up the query. Yeah, so now we can see, all right, we have the time and then the transaction hash where a particular address is being blacklisted. So let's just go to the transaction and see if that's indeed what happened. So I'm copying this transaction hash, and then I'm going to just go to Etherscan one more time, and then I'm going to type in this transaction hash and look it up. And from here, I already see the initiator, the from of the transaction is the USDC blacklister. And then we can go to, where we normally go to look, the logs. Aha, ta-da, it is indeed a blacklist event. So this is how we can find, systematically find like all the blacklisted events where like all the addresses that are being blacklisted. But if we kind of see, okay, so this is the address the account being blacklisted. It starts with 610B. And if we come back to the side, like our result kind of looks like it, but not really. Like there's just like paddings, right? So why is that? It's because these topics have a preset amount of like allocated size. So it's 32 bytes. And then, but like also with the wallet addresses, they also have like a preset amount of like how large they can be. So it's like 20 bytes. And then each byte is 2 characters in our case. So what we need to do here is effectively we have to truncate all the zeros you see, and then we only take the 20 bytes where the wallet address is actually sitting in. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to do a substring function. So I'm just telling SQL, hey, I would like to grab the characters from the 27th position on for 40. So, oops. And so why is that, right? So we said that just there's like 32 bytes in total for this allocated param. So times 2, we have like 64. Actually, we don't even need to do that. So 34. So 34, actually, let's do this. So let's do 34 minus 20, because 32 is the allocated byte, and then 20 is the wallet length. So we derive at 12, right? So the 12 is the byte, and then we need to convert it to like characters. So times 2 is 24, right? But then we see also this is a string column, and then there's like 2 more characters in front. So we plus 2 here. And then, so that's how we derive, like we need to skip 26 characters, right? So that's why we start from the 27th position. So hopefully that made sense. So from the 27th position, we want to grab 40 additional characters. Why is that? Because while the address is 20 bytes, 20 times 2 is 40. All right, so that's what we are going to do here. And then just to format it nicely, I'm going to concatenate append the 0x in front of it. And then I'm going to call it as band wallet. Okay, so now, substring, substring typo. So now, when the results come out, it should be as clean as we see on Etherscan. Yeah, so now you see, okay, the wallet addresses are like expected format. It's really, really nice. But yeah, so that is how we can systematically grab the wallet addresses that are being blacklisted on August 8th. But as we kind of like seen, this is a pretty long journey, right? Like we had to understand like logs table and the like what like contract address is associated with, and like topics 1, like topic 2, and even with topic 2 we had to know, you know, the bytes of the wallet. It's just like so much manual work that we have to do. I'm going to show you an easier way to do this with the decoder table on Dune. So decoder table is basically Dune and the community members of Dune helping us to skip all these complicated manual process. So I'm going to go to decoded projects, and then I know that what I'm concerned with project-wise is circles. I'm going to type in circle here. I'm going to click into circle, and I know I care about the USDC at this particular moment. So I'm going to come here, and then I know I care about blacklisted event, right? We've kind of like honing this like a couple times. So I'm going to do my normal, select from, not form, and blacklist. Okay, so coming into here and then examining the possible columns, we already see how beautiful is that. It already has an account column for us to query. How beautiful. We don't need to do any of those things. So let's just filter for our normal ones. Let's filter by the time, and then oopsies. And then just, I see here that the time column is named a little bit differently. So I'm going to replace that. And I'm going to do the same thing I was doing. So I would like the event block time. I would like to have the transaction hash, just so I want to check. And then I'm going to have the account as the, we can start running this. I'm going to just, and obviously we can like name this again, like as band wallet. And like if we want to, we can also just like rename this column to be exactly the same as previously. And I'm going to hide this now. And why not? Let's just do that. As transaction hash, and then as block time. All right. So the results of this, as you can already see, like we have skipped like quite a lot, like conceptually. Okay, we need to know the contract address, topics 1, topics 2, right? So here, let me just open this a little bit more. Ta-da! It's like the same thing as we see before, but so much faster and so much more clean, right? And then so now I'm going to save this query. Let me make this a little bit smaller so I can do things. So here on the top right, I'm going to click save, and then I'm going to say blacklisted addresses on August 8th at USDC, and then I can save. I'm gonna run it again, and then also like once I have this, I can create a visualization. Here there's not a lot of visualization we can do. We can just create a table, but as you can see, like option wise, like if it's like if it's suitable, you can create bar charts, area charts, scatter bar chart. And then if you've done like any visualization in the past, like let's say like Python Altair, like it takes like 30 minutes to just do a nice chart. But like with Dune, you can like automatically just generate like in less than 1 minute. And once you generate the visualization, you are also able to add the visualization to any dashboard that you've created. So that's one word about how you can start constructing a dashboard. But anyways, so now we've done the hard work of getting to, we've basically just worked for this particular table that you see in this dashboard, finding the ban address on August 8th by the USDC. Let me just walk you through some other on-chain data sleuthing that you can do on Dune, but I'm not gonna like build a query from ground up again. So if you just like take a look at this dashboard and then like take a look at these queries, and like if you have any questions, just reach out. But yeah, so on that particular day, let's quickly go back to our presentation a little bit. And then if we remember, right, so Brandtag tweeted Circle froze 75,000 USDC, right? And now you can also derive at the same number, because everything is public on chain. Like you're also equipped with the same power to get the same number. So literally what we need to do here, so this subquery we've just done. We found the banned wallet addresses, right, for USDC on that particular day. And all I need to do is then further on kind of like taking apart query for the from, so the outflow from that wallet for that particular wallet, and then getting the inflow for that particular wallet, and then we can sum up the balance, and then we can further sum up the balance of all the address being banned. So here we can also derive at 75K ourselves. And something else you can also do, so here we can even dig a little bit deeper to ask, okay, so I know the banned addresses. I'm like curious to see how much is stuck in each of these addresses, aka pools. So you can also do that, and then we can see the number by balance is this particular pool. And if I go to this pool, and yeah, our favorite and most familiar pool, we already know it's the 1,000 USDC Tornado.cash pool. And then 70 still here, it says, there's still 71,000 USDC inside of this pool. And ta-da, here, same thing. We show the same thing, 71K USDC being stuck. And now we might be asking ourselves, okay, we know the amount, but like I'm curious to see, okay, so what are the implications? Like if the ban is like applied retroactively, like what would happen? Or, just like a lot of things, like a lot of questions we might be asking ourselves, like we can also solve for that. So let's go into that. So we can go into this particular pool, and then we can investigate for ourselves the flows of money and the flows of the account. So the balance over time. So with query and generating let me just go into this to quickly show you the results. So basically you write the query for the inflow and outflow for this pool, and once you get the query results, you can quickly create this this chart that way I was saying by clicking the new visualization and then add to the dashboard. But yeah, anyway, so once we've done the work, we can also see, okay, so this pool seems to be deployed, aka come alive on January of 2020, and then initially 10K of USDC was deposited, and then we can kind of like go and see, hey, like in July of 2021, 43K of USDC is deposited, but 46K was withdrawn, and then keep going, and then we can see, hey, as of this month, August, there is already 572K cumulatively that has been deposited into this pool. And then right now, like summing up all the inflows and outflows, we have 71K as we have seen above. So yeah, so from this chart, we can further understand the pool balance. And then these two charts below, we can see how many people have actually interacted, like unique wallet addresses, right? So we can summon, we can basically each month see, okay, like this month there's in June there's like 32 unique depositors, and like overall up till like August there's 328 unique depositors, and then same thing for the withdrawers. So this is how you can use Dune to kind of like hone in, zoom in on a particular question that you want to answer for yourself. But with Dune, you can also like zoom out to see like what has happened over all the time. So what do I mean by that? So previously we've kind of like looked at on August 8th what happened, like the amount of money frozen, addresses banned. But we can also just like look at from the entirety of USDC being live, like start banning people, the amount that's frozen. So here up till now, there's about $4 million being frozen in USDC. And actually this month, the amount being frozen on the Ethereum chain is not that much compared to other time historically. Like in June, there's like 1.3 mil. And then last November, there's like even 1.6 mil. So yeah, and also we can see the amount of addresses that are blacklisted. So like this month, there's 39 accounts being blacklisted already, but like, previously there's like just like individual accounts. So that actually gives us some interesting insight, right? So like we can see there's pretty much like no correlation between the amount of addresses being banned and the amount of USDC being frozen. Yeah, so you can just like also do similar things for yourself on chain and kind of just like derive at the same insights for anything else in the future that you want to ask for yourself. And so below these two tables, just similar to what I've seen before, we can find out the transactions that like banned the addresses. We can see like the date that they're being banned, and we can see like how much are actually stuck or frozen in each of these banned addresses. All right. So let's that is all for the what it means by OFAC sanctioning Tornado Cash and using USDC to help us understand like on-chain sleuth, like what exactly does that mean? I will open up the floor for more questions. Okay, should I think you're on mute, Boxer. I feel like you're
that is my bad. Well done. That was a good presentation and people really seem to like it. So if there's any more questions, so we didn't really get that many questions. A few I was able to answer in the chat. So I think one person, let me look for this. So there were two questions that were basically more like, what are the implications of this? So will all US-based Web3 projects have to block all these addresses? So Circle very much had to do this because they're in direct control of the USDC contract. So they're able to change the proxy contract. They have this blacklist function. It's issued by Circle. So that's why Circle has to comply with this. How it has played out over the last few days in a lot of cases is that either projects are not based in the US and they, like, I want to say don't give a fuck, but they're probably still concerned, but it's not something that like directly influences them. And what we've seen in most cases, so I think the most prominent cases are Uniswap, Aave, Balancer. They are basically all censoring these addresses on their front end. And they're not even just censoring addresses that are on the sanctions list, but in some cases they're also censoring addresses or like blocking them from interacting with their front end, not with the protocol. They can't do that on a smart contract level, but with the official Aave front end or with the official Uniswap front end, some addresses that have received money from Tornado Cash have also been kind of blocked. Whether that is necessary or not, that's a story that like the lawyers of Web3 and crypto will have to find out in the next few weeks. There's a big controversy about Uniswap and Aave blocking access to their front ends to these addresses. But in general, yes, if you are a US-based project, you would have to follow these rules. Otherwise, you're in big trouble. This like second order effect of like, do I have to sanction addresses which have interacted with Tornado in the past? That is something where I'm not familiar, I'm not a lawyer, like no advice. That is something that is still kind of being figured out, and it's not quite clear what the situation there is. And then Cookie also had a follow-up question, which is, what will happen to Web3 projects that don't have a blacklist functionality? So that actually leads me to explain. So the Aave protocol, so like the smart contracts that are on-chain, they are owned by the Aave DAO. So there's no real legal entity that is able to be sanctioned by the US or something. But the Aave, I think it's Aave Labs. I think that's the name for this. The organization that developed Aave, that thing is able to be sanctioned, but the Aave DAO, which owns the smart contract, that is not able to be sanctioned because it's a DAO. Like, who owns this DAO? What's the legal entity behind this? Of course, also like the lawyers will still have to figure this out. But the current situation is pretty much that when there's a DAO in charge of the protocol, protocols will block their front ends from these sanctioned addresses and from some addresses which have interacted with Tornado Cash in the past, but you can't block this on a smart contract level because, first of all, it's not technically possible, and like they won't have to shut down, and second, like they're probably like the smart contract addresses are owned by a DAO. So there's no real entity that the OFAC or the US Treasury or whoever like enforces these sanctions could really go after. So I hope that that monologue explained it. Is there any more questions that came in? Okay. Loving Dune. Brilliant presentation. Please convey my thanks. Okay, there it is.
Thanks for coming. Hopefully that's useful.
Yes. There it is. All right. I think that that finishes this. So yeah, thanks all for tuning in. We will probably do these every 2 weeks, but we will see how high the demand is, how well this works. Yeah, see you at the next Dune Arcana.
Yeah.
Bye bye, guys.
Yeah, and please reach out. Let us know if you have any feedback about this session or questions.